Hey everyone, Mobius1 here again, bringing you next episode of the Star Wars Galaxy's Emu Let's Play. This one we're going to be talking a little bit about player housing and the lot system. I touched briefly on player housing in my the second crafting episode, when I wanted to talk about crafting stations. Particularly because the private crafting stations can only be used while inside a player house. But we haven't really talked much about exactly how the player housing system works or what your housing options are. So I don't really have that many. Actually, I only have one type of house on me right now. But there are several different styles of houses you can get. You can firstly get either a small, medium, or large house. And you then have the option of getting either a Corellian house, a Naboo house, a Tatooine house, or a generic house. Now, what planets these houses can be built on, I believe I remember this correctly. Naboo houses can be built on Naboo, Rory, or Tatooine. I believe every house can be built on Tatooine, but I'll say it anyway. Naboo houses can be built on Naboo, Rory, or Tatooine. Corellian houses can be built on Corellia, Talos, or Tatooine. Tatooine houses can be built on Tatooine, Locke, or Tatooine. I believe that's it. And then generic houses can be built on any of those planets. The uninhabitable planets in the game are Endor, Dathomir, and Yavin 4. So I think I covered all the bases there. Yes, I did. Alright. The difference in the size of the house, obviously the footprint is going to be different. A small house is going to take a much smaller footprint of real estate than a medium house, and a medium house is going to take a smaller footprint of real estate than a large house. In addition, the larger the house, the more items you can hold, and I'm not that familiar on how many items a particular house can hold. But I am going to put a link in the description of this video to the Galaxy's Wiki page that'll have all the information that I don't know off the top of my head. The larger house you get, it also has a larger maintenance cost. So it'll cost more credits per hour in maintenance fees to maintain a larger house. Aside from the houses, you also have guild halls. You have I think there's a Corellian guild hall. I know there's a generic guild hall, a Naboo guild hall, and a Tatooine guild hall, and there might be a Corellian guild hall also. However, the generic Corellian, if it exists, and Naboo guild halls are actually the same structure. They're just textured differently. So the Naboo guild hall will look more like a Naboo house than the Corellian one. The Tatooine guild hall, on the other hand, is not only does it look like a Tatooine house, but it's actually a completely different layout. And the Tatooine guild halls they have a really nice layout. Many rooms, a very spacious basement. They have all the guild halls have a nice open rooftop, but the rooftop of the Tatooine guild hall, you can actually look out across, the land in front of you, whereas the Naboo and Corellian and generic guild halls, their roofs are more like landing pads. They're very enclosed. They're still cool, especially if you don't do like a guild battle on them or whatever. But a big misconception is you don't actually need to have a guild to own a guild hall. You can still purchase and use a guild hall as your own personal house. A lot of crafters will use them as malls because you can put a lot of vendors in them. Guild halls are pretty cool. There is one other important thing that needs to be said about houses. Let me get to that in a second, though. If you've watched the second part of my crafting video, you've seen what you do to actually build a house. Once you obtain the house, you'll get a deed. Right now I have a deed for a small Naboo house. It actually tells you right here what planets you can build it on and what the maintenance rate is. So a small Naboo house has a 16 credit per hour maintenance rate, and like I said before, you can build it on Naboo, Rory, or Tatooine. So if I double click this, it takes me to this overhead view. And you can see the yellow yellow like caution lines are preventing you from building the house in that area. As long as the house itself gives you a green stripes, you know you can build it there. You can right click to rotate it, though it's kind of tricky to see which way it's facing. You might have to play with it a little bit. Look for the ramp. You can kind of see that there's like a small ramp on the bottom right now. If I rotate it, now the ramp is on the left. Rotate again, now the ramp is on the top. Rotate it again, now the ramp is on the right. And now the ramp is back on the bottom. That way you can kind of tell where the front of the house is, and pick from there where you want to place it. Now if you can't find a good spot, you can always hit escape. That'll bring you out. But what I wanted to mention is notice how this land up here appears to be flat, but for some reason that's giving me yellow caution. You might be wondering why that is. Well, actually creature layers prevent houses from being built. So if we come up here, there's actually a Motcalf layer, and I don't have buffs, so let's see how well this goes. These guys are conning pretty low. Should be alright. Oh yeah, okay, I'll say so. So we'll just walk around, murder these innocent calves. Ta-da. Ta-da. And come on. Ta-da. And that's that. We'll kill you. Come back over here and just clean up the couple of stragglers that spawned. Perfect. Now that that is taken care of, if I go to build my house, now you can see this entire area is clear. So, while you don't need to be a combat profession to own a house, if you find a nice area that you want to build your house in and it's infested with creatures, you might have to hire someone to clear the area out for you. Just keep that in mind. But let's say I like this little, I found a nice quiet area here on Naboo, by a river with no other player houses nearby. I like that. I feel very, very secluded, very much like a hermit. And let's say I want to put this small house right on the river, facing the river, right there. And any day now, bam. All right. Get your mail. Structure of your house is complete. There's a waypoint to it. You can go up. Mobius's house. Change that name. Name structure. Get rid of that double S. Mobius's house. Exclamation point. Check the status. Make sure you have maintenance in it. So right now, maintenance pool is 7652. If you divide that by 16 credits an hour, you get how many hours worth of maintenance you have. But that's plenty for now. And alright, before I do anything else, I want to talk about the last thing. If you open up your character sheet, underneath Personal, you have a few things here that some of you may have noticed already and some of you may not have. The topic lists your species, then it says home. By default, your home is a wanderer because you don't have a home. Married, you're unmarried. Bind location, don't worry about that. Bank location, this is, you have a safety deposit box that you can use on a bank terminal. I might have talked about that in the second episode, but I might not have. Basically, it lets you store items in a bank terminal, and then you can access them as long as you're on the planet that your bank location is on. Lots remaining. This is a big thing. So every character in the game has 10 lots by default. There's no way to get more than 10 lots. However, every structure that you build will reduce your available number of lots. So a small house requires 2 lots, which is why I have 8 now instead of 10. I know there's like a small Naboo house style 2 that's like a little round hut instead of this big structure, which only requires 1 lot. But other than that, all small houses require 2. I believe medium houses require 3, and large houses require 5. I know When I was playing Galaxies years ago, I think guild halls required 7. But if I remember correctly now, the wiki says they only require 5, so I'm not sure on that. That'll give you guys something to look up and comment on after you watch this. So find out how many lots guild halls take up. But yeah, also any resource harvesters or factories will also require a lot. So if I am a crafter and I want to have 5 resource harvesters and a house, a small house, I'm looking at 5 plus 2 lots. I only have 3 lots remaining to do whatever I want to after that. So lot management is very important. The home location right now, since it says I'm a wanderer, if I go to this terminal under structure management and go to declare residence, it says you have declared your residency here. Now my home is these coordinates on Naboo. I know it's kind of like, whatever, but that's what that's for. It also plays a part in being part of a city. If this house was in a city, I would now be allowed to vote for a mayor in this city. But in order to build a house in a city, you need zoning rights from a city militia member. I know I've received a couple messages about doing a video on player cities, and I definitely look forward to doing one of those in the future, but I just wanted to get this out of the way. The lot system, to talk about the different types of houses and what the differences between them are. So I know this is probably my shortest video yet. I'm sorry I can't post them more frequently, but I'm doing them when I can, doing what I can when I can. Alright, so for those of you who are unfamiliar with the housing system in Star Wars, I hope this helped. I guess I can also, before I wrap this up, something else that I started mentioning in another episode, or in the crafting episode, is how to decorate your house. Let's say I want to put these pants in this house. When you're in your house that you have administrative permissions to, you can actually drop items in the house. And when you drop them, turn my light on with the L key, for those of you that don't know about this, the item is actually dropped in the house. You can see it. Now if you click and hold on this to get your radial menu, you have different options. You can pick it up, you can move it, you can rotate it, and all of these options, they're cool, but there's a better way to do it. So if I want to move these forward, and the forward is relative to my character direction, so if I want to move them towards that window, I will face the window and go move forward. And you'll see these pants are moving very slowly forward each time I do this. Well, there's a faster way to do it. Other than just picking them up and dropping them over by the window, if I make sure I have them targeted, type /move forward and then a number between 1 and 500, so we'll say 250. They will jump 250 units forward, so move forward 50. And then you can always use your up and down arrow keys to cycle between previous messages to get them where you want them. Then same with rotating. If I go to rotate left, they rotate 45 degrees left each time I do this. Alternatively, you can type rotate left and then a specific degree between 1 and 360. So if I only want them to rotate 1 degree, you could barely tell that I even did that. You can see them turning very slowly. So there's that. People, you can actually spend hours decorating. I'll try to pick them up. Decorating your house, getting different weapons on the wall. Like, unfortunately, I don't have any guns. But if you have, like, say you have a rifle that you've outgrown, you get a new one, but you don't want to get rid of your old one, you can actually hang it on the wall by dropping it. What can I drop? What can I put on a wall? Let's put these pants on the wall just because. So let's see. I'm going to rotate right 90. Whoops, nope. Rotate left 180. Turn them around. So now they're facing me. I'll move them forward 30, is it? To get them on the wall. Move forward 10. Good enough. They're almost on the wall, right? And then we'll do move up 100. There we go. Move forward 10. Ooh, now they're in the wall. Move back 5. Good enough. So I just hung a pair of pants on the wall. Alright, so get creative with this. You can really do almost anything. You can put items inside other items. People use like poles to create cages, like pole arm weapons. You can buy really cheap weapons, get fancy with them. But yeah, and then if you ever decide you want to move, come to this terminal, structure management, go to destroy structure, and then right here it'll give you a little like status thing that says can read deed, either yes or no. First of all, the condition has to be 100%, and it has to have a certain a minimum maintenance pool left over. So if this is ever red, you just need to pay more maintenance to get this cleared up. Once it's all green, you click yes. You have to type in a code, so in my case 190477. Okay, and the house is destroyed and it's added back to your inventory. Now you also have to make sure you remove any items before you do that, otherwise they will be lost, and the game tells you that ahead of time. But do not try to redeed a house with items in it. And upon destroying the structure, I get my 2 lots back, so now I'm back up to 10 lots. Alright, so there's Housing 101 for you guys. Get some houses, see if you can find my spot out here. Tell you what, I will build my house here. You guys can see the waypoint here, but I'll leave my house here and we'll start a little village. Alright, how's that sound? I'll put my house right on the edge. I'll make sure it's got enough maintenance in there to last it a couple of months. Just dump all the money that I have into it. 25,000. Bam. There we go. This thing is going to be good forever. Oh yeah, look at that. 31, almost 32,000 credits. That thing will last a good amount of time. And we'll name it Mobius's YouTube house. Yay! Alright. So now you guys can come build your houses with mine if you want. I'm right here on the map to the east of Karen. This is a nice area. I like it. It's kind of there's a lot of rivers out here, and a few swampy areas, but it's pretty cool out here. It's very pretty. So, all right, guys. Thanks for watching again, and we'll see you next time.